After 25 years of marriage, Julian and I had always chosen to remain child-free. Until yesterday, when his first love, Jazmín, returned to the country. She was pregnant, claiming the child was his. "Lyra, I have to take responsibility," Julian said. His eyes red-rimmed. I sneered coldly. "Well, congratulations. Finally, heading to hacerme. You're going to be a father." What he didn't know was that I was no longer the naive, sweet Lyra he once knew. The phone rang as I was organizing design sketches in my studio. "Lyra, did you know Jazmín's back?" Quinn's voice was tense. Jazmín, Julian's first love. 25 years ago. He personally sent her off on a plane abroad, all to marry me. I put down my pencil. So what if she's back? What does it have to do with me? She's pregnant. Quinn lowered her voice. And someone saw her meeting Julian at a CAF. My phone almost slipped from my hand. In 25 years of marriage, Julian had never betrayed me. He was a traditional man, loyal, honorable, and considerate toward me. We never had children because I insisted. In youth, I valued freedom. As I aged, I simply accepted it. Julian never complained, often telling others, "We have a good marriage. We don't need children to keep it together." But Jazmín was different. She was the first love deep in Julian's heart, the true love he gave up out of responsibility. "Lyra, are you still there?" Quinn's voice pulled me back. "I'm here," I said, forcing calm into my voice. "Maybe they're just catching up to the point of pregnancy?" Quinn clearly didn't believe it. "Be careful. Men at this age are the easiest to fall back for their first love." After hanging up, I sat alone in the empty studio, staring at the walls lined with my designs. Over the years, I had built my design firm into a flourishing business, gaining a modest reputation in the industry. Julian's architectural company was also thriving. Two outsiders. We were the perfect couple. But now, Jazmín was back, and she was carrying a child. At 7 in the evening, Julian came home right on time. He had changed into casual clothes, wearing that familiar gentle smile I knew so well. "How was work today?" He sat beside me, casually draping an arm around my shoulders. "Not bad." I studied his expression carefully. "You? Anything special happen today?" Julian's hand stiffened for a moment but soon relaxed. "Nothing special. Just handled some projects." He was lying. After 25 years, I knew him too well. When Julian lied, he always unconsciously touched his nose, just like now. "Julian." I turned to look at him. "If there's something going on, you would tell me, wouldn't you?" His eyes flickered. "Of course. There are no secrets between us." Another lie. During dinner, Julian was distracted, several times wanting to say something but swallowing it back. I pretended not to notice, chatting casually on unrelated topics. Before going to bed, his phone rang. The name Jazmín glowed clearly on the screen. Our eyes met. The air seemed to freeze. "I'm going to take this." Julian took the phone and walked to the balcony. Through the glass door, I saw his back tense slightly. His voice was low, but a few words still reached me. "Is the child really mine? I need time to think. Lyra doesn't know yet." So that's how it was. When Julian returned to the bedroom, I was already lying down, facing away, pretending to be asleep. He climbed into bed quietly beside me but didn't sleep a wink. Neither did I. The next morning, Julian woke half an hour earlier than usual. Thinking I was still asleep, he quietly grabbed his phone and went to the bathroom. I heard him whisper into the phone, "I'm free today. Let's meet and talk." The usual place, the CAF. "Okay. I'll figure out how to handle this." The usual place. 25 years ago, Julian proposed to me in that very CAF. He said it was where they used to hang out when young. Now it would mark our new beginning. How ironic. After Julian left, I immediately took a leave from work, changed into simple clothes, put on a mask and hat, and headed straight to the CAF. I sat in a corner, ordered a coffee, and waited quietly. At 10 o'clock, Julian appeared. He wore the blue shirt I had bought him, looking a bit nervous. 5 minutes later, Jazmín arrived. After 25 years. She was still beautiful, but with a mature, womanly charm. Her slightly rounded belly was faintly visible beneath a loose dress. She sat opposite Julian, tears welling in her eyes. Julian, I never imagined it would come to this. Her voice choked. If I hadn't found out I was pregnant, I might never have come back. Julian gripped his coffee cup tightly. Is the child really mine? That night, you were drunk. I took you back to the hotel. Jazmín lowered her head. I thought we were adults, say one night stand. I never expected to get pregnant. Then why are you telling me only now? I wanted to abort. But the doctor said, given my health, this might be my last chance to be a mother. Jazmín raised her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. Julian, why roto? I don't ask for much, I just want to give the child a name. Julian was silent for a long time. As for Lyra, I know you two are close. I won't ruin your relationship. Jazmín hurried to add, I can raise the child on my own. Just come to see us sometimes. Impossible. Julian shook his head. If the child is mine, I can't let him be a bastard. So you mean? I need time. I'll talk to Lyra slowly. Julian looked at Jazmín with a tenderness I had never seen before. You focus on your health. I'll handle everything else. My hands trembled around the coffee cup. 25 years of marriage shattered in an instant. I took a taxi home, feeling unreal, as if floating. The driver glanced at me several times in the rearview mirror, probably sensing something was wrong. Miss, having so failed my obsession. Are you okay? I'm fine. I forced a smile. Fine? My husband had cheated. And another woman was pregnant with his child, how could I be fine? Back home, I sat on the living room sofa, staring at the house I had meticulously decorated. European style. Creamy white tones, every corner reflected my taste. Julian often said this home carried my essence, warm and elegant. Now, it all felt like a cruel joke. At 3 in the afternoon, Julian returned. His face looked tired. Seeing me sitting there, he paused. You didn't go to the studio today? I'm taking a leave, I said, watching him carefully. Sit down. We need to talk. Julian, clearly sensing something, nervously took the seat opposite me. What are you going to do about Jazmín? I asked bluntly. His face turned pale in an instant. How did you find out? Does it matter? I smiled coldly. What matters is what are you going to do? Julian was silent for a long time before finally letting out a deep sigh. Lyra, I know this is sudden for you. But you have to take responsibility. Don't you? I cut him off. After all, she's your child. I never meant to betray you. Julian's voice was low. I drank too much that night. I barely remember what happened. So I have to bear the consequences. He looked up at me, eyes filled with guilt. Lyra, I know this isn't fair to you, but I can't let my child grow up without a father. And so? I nodded. What exactly do you plan to do? Julian seemed taken aback by my calmness. I think I want a divorce. To marry her? To give the child a complete family. I stood and walked to the window. Outside, the sunlight was just right. The sycamore leaves gleamed green and vibrant. Everything looked so beautiful. Julian, let me ask you a question. I turned my back to him. Do you love her? A sigh came from behind me. Lyra, that question is meaningless. Answer me. We're all adults. Love isn't that important. Responsibility is. I turned to face the man I'd shared 25 years of life with. Fine. I agreed to the divorce. Julian's head jerked up, disbelief flashing in his eyes. What did you say? I said, I agree to divorce. My voice was steady. If you're going to take responsibility, then I'll let you. Lyra. He stood and stepped toward me. But I stopped him. However, there are conditions. I raised my hand. First, the property is split evenly. Second, you keep the company shares. But I want cash compensation. Third, you must personally explain this to our friends. Are you really going to with Bess? His voice trembled. What else? I challenged. Do you want me to make a scene, turning Jazmín and the child into the other party's mistress and illegitimate child in everyone's eyes? Julian opened his mouth but said nothing. If you have nothing more to say, then we'll go to the divorce office tomorrow. I headed for the stairs. I'm going upstairs to pack. You can stay in the guest room tonight. Lyra. Julian called after me. I stopped but didn't look back. I'm sorry. His voice was barely a whisper. I said nothing and went straight upstairs. The moment I closed the bedroom door, I leaned against it and finally let the tears fall uncontrollably. 25 years just over like that. I cried for a long time. Until my tears dried. Then began packing. Clothes. Jewelry. Cosmetics. Some keepsakes. I neatly placed them into the suitcase as if packing up a lifetime. At last, I picked up a photo from the bedside table. It was taken on our wedding day. Julian holding me as we both smiled happily. I wore a white wedding dress. He, a black suit like a prince and princess from a fairy tale. We once believed such happiness would last forever. Now it felt like a cruel joke. I slid the photo into the drawer, closing off that memory. That night, lying in bed, I listened to Julian moving downstairs. He probably couldn't sleep either. But none of that mattered anymore. What mattered was that tomorrow I would be free. Thinking this, a smile unexpectedly spread across my face. Yes, I would be free. No longer needing to be the model wife in others' eyes. No longer sacrificing myself to keep the marriage intact. No longer pretending to be happy. I could start anew. Live by my own rules. With that thought, I finally fell asleep. The next morning, I was woken by knocking. Lyra, are you up? I made breakfast. Julian's voice came through the door. I glanced at the clock. 7:30. No, I'm not hungry. I replied loudly. Then, when shall we go to the registry office? 10 o'clock. Okay. As his footsteps faded away, I got up, washed, and changed into simple clothes. At 9:50, I dragged my suitcase downstairs. Julian was already in the living room, dressed formally, looking worn. Let's go, I said. He glanced at my suitcase, hesitating. I'll stay at a hotel tonight and look for a place tomorrow, I explained. No need, I said coolly. If we're divorcing, let's do it thoroughly. You can still live here. On the way to the registry office, neither of us spoke. The scenery outside the window blurred past quickly. Just like our marriage soon to be nothing but a memory. The office wasn't crowded, and we quickly got our number. A young clerk glanced at our documents. Surprised. Are you sure you want a divorce? You seem like a loving couple. Julian and I exchanged a look but said nothing. Okay. Please fill out this form. She handed us the divorce agreement. Has the property division been settled? It has. I took the pen and signed my name. Julian's eyes flickered with complicated emotion as he watched me sign. When it was his turn, his hand trembled slightly holding the pen. Sir, any questions? The clerk asked. No. Julian took a deep breath and signed. Half an hour later, we had the divorce certificate. The red marriage certificate was replaced by a green divorce certificate. 25 years of marriage. Ended just like that. Let me take you to the hotel, Julian offered. No need. I'll take a taxi myself. I put the certificate into my bag. Also, hadn't fulfilled l'oxo. Remember to call my parents later and explain. I will. He nodded. Lyra, if you need any help, there won't be any. I cut him off. We're done. With that, I dragged my suitcase toward the door. Julian called after me. Lyra. I stopped but didn't turn around. Will you hate me? After a moment's thought, I replied, no. Thank you for the 25 years of care. I wish you and Jazmín happiness. This time, I truly walked away. Sitting in the taxi, I called Quinn. What? You're already divorced? Quinn's voice nearly shattered my eardrums. Lyra, are you crazy? Just letting them off that easily? There's nothing to argue about. I leaned back in the seat. We're adults, parting ways peacefully is best. But you were together for 25 years. So what? I countered. Do you want me to make a scene and have everyone laugh at me? Quinn was left speechless. Quinn, having fulfilled my obsession. Do me a favor. I said. Find me a fully furnished, move-in ready place to live. Okay. Okay. Quinn was still stunned. Are you really decided? Yes. Decided. After hanging up, I stared out the taxi window at the fast-moving streets, feeling an unexpected calm. Maybe this was what they called liberation. At dusk, I checked into a 5-star hotel. The room was spacious. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city's nightscape. Thousands of lights flickered like stars. Dazzlingly beautiful. I ordered room service and sat alone by the window for dinner. The steak was tender. The wine fragrant. Yet I tasted nothing. My phone rang. It was Julian. I glanced at the screen but eventually answered. What is it? I wanted to ask if you're comfortable staying there tonight. His voice was cautious. It's fine. That's good. He paused. Lyra. Actually Julian. I cut him off. We're divorced now. Don't say these things anymore. But I feel. Your feelings don't matter anymore. My voice was cold. What you should care about now is Jazmín and your child. Not me. Silence stretched on the other end. I understand. Finally, Julian said. Sorry to bother you. He hung up. I put down the phone and continued my dinner. Outside, the night deepened while the city lights only grew brighter. Like my mood, though, I had lost something. New possibilities awaited. At 10 p.m. Quinn sent me several listings. All were upscale, fully furnished apartments. Truly move-in ready. I chose one close to my studio and asked Quinn to contact the agent. Early the next morning, I went to see the apartment. A one-bedroom unit, not large, but warmly decorated. The landlord was a middle-aged woman. Very approachable. Hearing my urgency, she signed the lease the same day. When I moved, I brought only a few bags. Everything else I left behind. That afternoon, I went to the studio. If I was starting over, I wanted a clean break. Owen, my assistant, looked surprised. President Lyra. You're here today? I thought you were taking a few days off. I changed my mind. I sat at my desk. Anything urgent? A few clients want to schedule meetings to discuss proposals. Owen handed me a file. Also, Alichu. Mr. Wang called. He wants you to design his new villa. He's a long-time client. Easy to work with. And generous with design fees. All right. Arrange a time. I flipped through the papers. Oh, and update my contact info, since I moved. Sure. Owen took out his notebook. You moved? Something like that. I replied coolly. Owen wisely didn't press further. I worked through the entire afternoon. Design plans. Client communications. Project follow-spoons. These familiar tasks filled me up. At least when working. I didn't have to think about anything else. When we finished for the day, Owen asked, President Lyra, want me to drive you home? No. I'll drive myself. I drove my red car through the city streets. I bought this car 3 years ago. Julian used to say the color was too flashy. Not fitting my temperament. But I loved it. Bright. Passionate. Full of life. Just like me now. A new place was comfortable. Though small, it was quiet, perfect for living alone. I bought some new daily necessities and made the space warm and cozy. Work was going well too. Designing Mr. Wan's villa rekindled my long-lost creative passion. Life was peaceful. If not for the occasional pang recalling those 25 years of marriage, I might have thought I'd always been alone. Until a week later, Jazmín came. That afternoon, I was in the studio discussing proposals with a client when the receptionist knocked. President Lyra. A lady is here to see you. She says she's a friend. I looked up. What's her name? Jazmín. The client was still there, so I couldn't show too much reaction. I asked Jazmín to wait in the meeting room and told the client I'd be finished shortly. After seeing the client off, I tidied my clothes and headed to the meeting room. Jazmín sat on the sofa, gently caressing her belly, visibly nervous. She stood up immediately when she saw me. Lyra, sorry to disturb your work. Her voice was soft, tinged with cautious flattery. Please sit. I took a seat opposite her. What brings you here? Jazmín lowered her head. Then said, I want to apologize to you. Apologize? I raised an eyebrow. For what? I ruined your marriage. She looked up at me. Tears welling. I know you and Julian have a good relationship. It's because of me that. Jazmín faltered. Wait. I interrupted. Jazmín. I think you've misunderstood something. First, you didn't ruin my marriage. I was the one who initiated the divorce. My voice remained calm. Second, since you're carrying Julian's child, it's only right that he marries you. But. No buts. I stood up. Jazmín. You didn't come here today to apologize. Did you? Her face flushed, clearly caught off guard by my words. I just wanted to confirm. Are you really not upset? I couldn't help but smile. Would it matter if I were? Do you think I could make you terminate the pregnancy just because I'm upset? Of course not. Jazmín instinctively protected her belly. Then realized she'd overreacted. That's settled then. I sat back down. Jazmín. Since you've chosen to have this child, cherish this chance. Julian is a responsible man. He will take care of you and the baby. Jazmín nodded but seemed to have more to say. Is there something else? I asked. Lyra. Actually, I wanted to ask you a favor. She bit her lip. Julian. He still seems to care about you a lot. Oh? That was a new angle. He drank heavily yesterday and kept apologizing to you, saying he betrayed your trust. Jazmín looked at me. I was hoping you could talk to him. Tell him to stop blaming himself for the past. I stared at her for a few seconds. Jazmín. Are you sure that's really why you came? What do you mean? I mean, let out a little sigh. Are you really here just to comfort Julian? I leaned back on the sofa. Not to see if I still have feelings for him? Jazmín's face instantly turned pale. I didn't. Women's intuition is usually spot on. I interrupted her. Jazmín. What are you worried about? That I'll take Julian back? Or that he'll be haunted by guilt and can't forget me? I am not thinking that way. Her voice trembled slightly. Oh really? I smiled. Then let me give you some good news. Jazmín watched me nervously. I have no feelings for Julian anymore. My voice was calm. Jazmín. You won. You have him and his child. Congratulations. I stood up. If there's nothing else, please leave. I have work to do. Jazmín stood as well, looking reluctant. Lyra. Do you really not hate me at all? That question made me pause. Hate? I thought for a moment and shook my head. No hate. I said. Jazmín. If you love someone, don't let them lie burdened by guilt. Julian chose you. You need to make sure he knows that was the right choice. And not come here to test whether I still have feelings for him. Jazmín's face turned even paler. I'll see you out. I walked toward the door. Jazmín followed. But as we reached it, she suddenly stopped. Lyra. You're a good woman. She said. Julian is lucky to have married you. Too bad he didn't cherish it. I said lightly. But now he has a chance to cherish you. After watching Jazmín leave, I returned to the office and sat down, lost in thought. Pretending I didn't care was a lie. But I truly felt no hatred. Perhaps because I sensed Julian's feelings for me fading long ago. Or because I had grown weary of the marriage. Either way, this outcome was a relief for everyone. That evening at home, I cooked myself a hearty dinner. Braised pork, steamed fish, and my favorite sweet and sour ribs. When I was with Julian, he disliked sweets. So I rarely made sweet dishes. Now, I could eat whatever I wanted. While eating, I turned on the TV and caught a romance drama. The heroine gave up everything for the hero, only to be abandoned, and in the end, she cried tearfully, pleading, I gave you so much, how could you treat me this way? I shook my head. Love isn't a simple equation of giving more to get more. Sometimes, letting go is the wisest choice. My phone rang. It was Quinn. Lyra. I heard Jazmín came to see you today? Yeah. I popped a rib into my mouth. You really get your news fast. The circle's small. Any stir I hear about. Quinn sounded worried. What did she want? To assert her claim. I chewed and mumbled. What? Just kidding. I swallowed. She came to apologize and, at the same time, to confirm if I really had no feelings left for Julian. That woman is something else. Quinn sneered. Already pregnant and still worried about you. The ex-wife. That just shows she's insecure. I said coolly. But none of that matters anymore. Do you really not care at all? I thought for a moment. Quinn, heading to so wide session. Do you think anyone can completely forget the past? Impossible. Quinn answered firmly. Our past shapes who we are, forgetting it entirely isn't realistic. Exactly. I said. I can't forget 25 years with Julian. But that doesn't mean I still love him. Freedom, I added. Like shedding an ill-fitting garment, bittersweet. But mostly relief. What do you feel now? Lightness. Quinn was silent for a moment. Lyra. You've changed. Have I? You weren't this rational before. I smiled. Maybe this is the real me. After hanging up, I kept watching TV. The heroine was still crying while the hero had already fallen into another's arms. I picked up the remote and changed the channel. Too much melodrama does no good for the mood. The following days returned to calm. Work was busy but fulfilling. I took on several major projects designing luxury residences, earning substantial fees. Financial independence gave me a newfound sense of security. On Friday afternoon, I was sketching designs in the studio when Quinn rushed in. Breathless. Lyra. Something huge just happened. I put down my pencil. What is it? Julian and Jazmín made the hot search list. She handed me her phone. I glanced at it. The headline read, Renowned architect Julian suspected of cheating on first love. Ex-wife praised for gracious divorce. The article was fairly objective. Without sensational language. Mainly reporting on our divorce and praising my magnanimity. But the comment section was lively. Is that woman crazy? Her husband cheats and she's still so generous? She's got money and a career, she'll thrive without a man. Why don't you try it for yourself? To be honest, it takes real strength to handle this situation so calmly. She's not an ordinary woman. Julian, man out a low sigh. To how could he treat his wife like this? I heard his first love came back, pregnant. Men, after all, think with their lower half. I was speechless and handed the phone back to Quinn. This kind of thing makes the trending list now. People love these high society scandals. Quinn said, sitting across from me. But Lyra, aren't you angry? Angry about what? They're painting you as the abandoned wife. While Julian and Jazmín are dubbed true love. I thought for a moment and shook my head. Those comments don't affect my life at all. But your reputation. I'm not a celebrity. What reputation do I need? I picked up my pencil again. Besides, the internet will forget all this in a few days. Why bother? Quinn looked at me hesitantly. What's wrong? I just feel like you're too calm. She said softly. Lyra, are you sure you've really let go? I paused, meeting her gaze. Quinn, head in full self-mad session. What do you want me to do? Cry myself to death? Make a scene? I just think anyone else would be upset by this. Maybe I'm not anyone else. I smiled faintly. Or maybe I'm just better at facing reality. Quinn was about to say more when my phone rang. An unknown number. Hello. Is this Ms. Lyra? Yes. Who's this? I'm a reporter from Urban Emotions magazine. We'd like to interview you about your divorce from Julian. I frowned. Sorry. I don't do interviews. Lyra. We just want to hear your side. No sensationalism. Thanks. But no. I hung up immediately. No sooner had I done so than the phone rang again. Another reporter. Then a third. A fourth. I switched my phone off. Looks like your peaceful days are over. Quinn said with a hint of schadenfreude. You're an internet celebrity now. I'll just get a new number. I said calmly. Changing your number is easy, but can you change your address? Your studio? Quinn warned. They'll find a way to track you down. She was right. That afternoon, reporters found their way to the studio. The receptionist reported. President Lyra. Several reporters are outside asking to interview you. I thought for a moment. Tell them I'm not here. But they say they'll wait. Then call the police. I said firmly. This is private property. They have no right to loiter. After dealing with the reporters, I decided to leave early. I slipped out the back door of the studio and drove home. Just outside my building, a few people loitered by the gate, looking like reporters. I frowned and drove straight to the underground parking. Taking the elevator from the garage, I finally avoided being spotted. Closing the door behind me, I leaned against it and sighed. Who would have thought a divorce could cause such a stir? That night, Julian called. Lyra, I'm sorry. I didn't expect things to get this out of hand. His voice was weary. It's not your fault, I said. In this digital age, everything gets blown up. I've asked the PR team to handle it. We'll cool things down soon. Thanks. And if any reporters bother you, tell me, I'll deal with it. I was taken aback. Why? You got dragged into this because of me, Julian said. It's my responsibility to protect you. Julian. My voice was cold. We're divorced. You have no duty to protect me. But. No buts. I cut him off. You should be worrying about Jazmín now. Not me. What would she think if she knew you still cared about me? Silence on the other end. I understand. He finally said. Sorry to bother you. He hung up. I walked to the window. Sure enough, reporters were staking out downstairs. Looks like I wasn't going anywhere tonight. But it didn't matter, I was a homebody anyway. Staying in felt fine. I brewed myself some tea and sat on the sofa with a book. It was a professional book on interior design. Quite inspiring. As I read, an idea struck me. Maybe I could start a design training course. Sharing my years of experience with young people. It would not only bring in income but also give me a new direction in life. Excited by the thought, I grabbed my notebook and began outlining the curriculum. From basic design theory to hands-on projects. From color matching to spatial layout, and client communication skills. Before I knew it, several pages were filled. Looking at it, I felt a long-lost excitement. So even without Julian, there was still so much I could do. Perhaps this divorce was truly a new beginning. The online buzz lasted about a week before being replaced by fresh gossip. The reporters gradually dispersed, and my life returned to normal. During this time, I seriously considered launching the training course. Even inquired about permits and venues. Everything went smoother than I expected. Just as I was about to take action, something unexpected happened. One evening, while organizing materials for the course at home, the doorbell rang. I thought it was a delivery, but peeking through the peephole, I saw Jazmín. She stood alone outside, her face pale and drawn. Hesitating briefly, I opened the door. Jazmín, it's late. What's the matter? Lyra, can I come in to talk? Her voice trembled. I stepped aside to let her enter. Jazmín sat on the sofa, hands clasped tightly, visibly nervous. What's wrong? I sat across from her. I want to ask you something. She lifted her tearful eyes to me. Do you think Julian still loves me? Her question caught me off guard. Why do you ask? I think he still has feelings for you. Jazmín bit her lip. Lately, he's been distracted. He treats me well, but it feels forced. I fell silent for a moment. Jazmín, do you want the truth? She nodded. Julian is a very traditional man. He married you out of responsibility, not love, I said calmly. As for whether he still has feelings for me, that's not what matters. What matters is that you two are together now. But what I want isn't responsibility. It's love. Jazmín burst into tears. I've loved him for more than 20 years. Finally got this chance. Only to find out his heart is still elsewhere. I watched her cry. Her tears streaming down like blossoms in the rain. And a complex wave of emotions surged within me. Jazmín, let me ask you a question, I said. Is the child in your womb truly Julian's? Jazmín's crying abruptly stopped. She looked at me in horror. What do you mean? Knowing Julian's character. If he really got drunk and slept with you, he would have contacted you the next day. I stared into her eyes. But from what I know, you were the one who reached out to him first. Jazmín's face turned pale. Also, Ellie, the timing of your return and the pregnancy don't quite match. I continued. Jazmín. Are you sure you're not lying? Jazmín suddenly stood up. What nonsense are you talking about? Of course the child is Julian's. Is that so? I stood up as well. Then why are you so afraid? I'm not afraid. Her voice sharpened. You're slandering me. I'm only raising reasonable doubts. I said coolly. If your conscience is clear, then you and Julian can take a paternity test together. But the baby hasn't been born yet. How can we do a paternity test? With today's medical technology, what can't be done? I smiled. Jazmín. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? Her body began to tremble. Why should I prove it to you? You're not even Julian. You're right. I'm not Julian. I walked toward the door. So this secret should be told to him. Not me. What do you mean? I mean, if you really love Julian, don't let him live with lies. I opened the door. Jazmín. Please leave. She stood frozen. Her face deathly pale. You'll tell Julian, won't you? Her voice was barely audible. Why should I? I retorted. This is between you two. It's none of my business. But you already have doubts. And what if I do? I looked at her. Jazmín. Julian and I are divorced. His affairs no longer concern me. Then why did you ask me like that just now? I thought for a moment. Maybe it was out of a friend's concern. Jazmín was stunned. Jazmín. If you're really carrying someone else's child but letting Julian take responsibility, that's unfair to him. I said. No matter what grudges exist between you two, an innocent child shouldn't be used for revenge. I'm not trying to take revenge. Jazmín hurriedly denied. Good. I said. But you ever think that way? I hope you'll come to your senses in time. She looked at me. A flicker of complicated emotion in her eyes. In the end, she said nothing and turned to leave, closing the door behind her. I leaned against it. My mood heavy and tangled. Half of what I said was a test. The other half was intuition. Jazmín's reaction basically confirmed my suspicions. The child she's carrying is very likely not Julian's. But none of that concerns me anymore. I've done what I needed to do. The rest is up to Julian's fate. Though I believe he won't be kept in the dark forever. After all, the truth can't stay hidden forever. The next few days were busy preparing for the training classes. The venue had been secured, an office building near my studio. Course planning, staffing, recruitment, publicity, everything required careful arrangement. Though exhausting, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. For the first time in my life, I was truly living for myself. On Wednesday afternoon, while supervising equipment installation in the newly rented classroom, Quinn rushed in hurriedly. Lyra, have you heard? Heard what? I put down my materials. Julian and Jazmín broke up. I paused. When did this happen? Last night. Quinn lowered her voice. Apparently Julian found out the child Jazmín's carrying isn't his. My heart skipped a few beats. But I kept my expression calm. Oh, really? That's your reaction? Quinn widened her eyes. Lyra. This means Julian was deceived. The divorce between you two was a complete misunderstanding. So what? I turned back to the workers. What's done is done. But you two can still get back together. Quinn stamped her foot anxiously. Julian must regret it terribly, if only you'd say the word. Quinn, hadn't so felt my obsession. I interrupted. I won't reconcile with him. Why not? Because I don't love him anymore. My voice was steady. Jazmín was just a catalyst. Even without her, our marriage would have fallen apart sooner or later. It's liberation. Quinn looked at me in disbelief. Is that really how you feel? Yeah. I nodded. 25 years of marriage has worn us both out. This separation is a relief for us both. But Julian, he'll find his own happiness. I said. Just like I will find mine. Quinn wanted to say more. But my phone rang. It was Julian. I glanced at the screen. Then answered. Lyra, do you have time? I want to see you. His voice was tired. Is something wrong? I want to explain something to you about Jazmín. I was silent for a moment. Julian, Lilian. We're already divorced. You don't owe me any explanations. But this all started because of me. I can't let you bear unnecessary misunderstandings. I'm not bearing any misunderstandings, I said. Besides, what you should be handling now are your own matters, not mine. Let me make things clear. Lyra. His voice choked slightly. I know I hurt you. But please give me a chance. I glanced at Quinn, who was staring at me wide-eyed. All right, I finally said. But I only have half an hour. Thank you. Julian breathed a sigh of relief. Same place as before. Okay? The same place, the coffee shop again. Okay. After hanging up, Quinn immediately leaned in. What does he want? To get back together? He probably wants to explain about Jazmín, I said, picking up my bag. I'll see what he has to say. Lyra. Be careful. Quinn warned. When Julian gets serious, he can be dangerous. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. When I arrived at the CAF, Julian was already waiting. He looked worn out, dark circles under his eyes, stubble on his chin. You're here. He stood to pull out my chair. Speak. What is it? I sat down directly. Julian took a seat and fell silent for a moment before speaking. Jazmín admitted the child isn't mine. I reacted calmly. Aren't you surprised? He asked, somewhat shocked. What's there to be surprised about? I retorted. Whose child it is has nothing to do with me. Julian seemed confused by my coldness. Lyra. Do you realize what this means? He said. Our divorce was based on a lie. So what? So we can start over. Julian's eyes sparkled with hope. Lyra. We can get back together. I looked at him and suddenly smiled. Julian let out a low sigh. I think you're mistaken. What do you mean? You think I divorced you because I couldn't accept you having a child? My voice was calm. Or that I left out of jealousy? Julian froze. Lyra. Isn't that true? Of course not. I shook my head. Julian. We divorced because our relationship had already reached its end. That can't be. We've always had a good relationship, have we? I interrupted. Then tell me, over the past year, how many deep conversations have we really had? Aside from work and daily trivialities. What else have we talked about? Julian opened his mouth but had no answer. And when was the last time you remembered what I like? Do you even know what I've been busy with lately? I pressed on. His face grew increasingly uncomfortable. Lyra. Our marriage had long since become a habit, I said softly. We got used to each other's presence but forgot each other's hearts. Jazmín's arrival only made us face this truth. Julian lowered his head. Silent for a long while. So you mean, even without Jazmín, we would have? It was only a matter of time. I nodded. Julian. Love can't be forced. When passion fades, without a deeper connection, marriage is just an empty shell. But we were together for 25 years. Exactly because it was 25 years. We owe it to ourselves to be honest. I looked at him. Julian, ask yourself honestly, do you still love me? The question silenced him completely. After a long pause, he looked up at me. Lyra. I don't know. His voice was soft. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. But I really don't know. That's right. I smiled. If you truly loved me, you wouldn't be this confused. And you? He asked. Do you still love me? I thought for a moment. Then shook my head. No, I don't. My voice was calm. Julian, we both need to be honest with ourselves. Love is love. Not love is not love. There's nothing shameful about it. A flicker of loss crossed Julian's eyes. But more than that was relief. Maybe you're right, he said. We really should let go. Yeah. I stood up. Then this is probably the last time we'll meet. Lyra. He stood as well. Though we can't be husband and wife anymore, I hope we can still be friends. I thought for a moment and nodded. Friends? Yes, but don't contact me too often, I said. After all, we both need to start new lives. I understand. He smiled for the first time today. Lyra. Thank you for these 25 years. Thank you too. I smiled. Julian, I hope you find the happiness that truly belongs to you. Walking out of the CAF, I felt an unprecedented lightness. 25 years of marriage had finally come to a true end. And my new life was just beginning. 2 months later. My design training course officially launched. The first session enrolled 20 students. All young people interested in interior design. Looking into their eager eyes, I saw a reflection of my younger self. Design isn't just about aesthetics, it's about functionality and humanity, I said from the podium to the students. A good designer must understand the client's innermost needs. The course went smoothly, and the students responded enthusiastically. During a break, a girl named Leo approached me. "Lyra, can I ask you a question?" she said shyly. "What is it?" "How do you stay in such great shape?" she asked. "I heard you just divorced, but it doesn't seem to have affected you at all." Her question surprised me. "Why do you ask?" "Because I've been thinking about divorce lately." Leo bit her lip. "But I'm scared of life after divorce." I looked at her, reminded of myself 2 months ago. "Leo, that is our. Why do you want a divorce?" "Because we have nothing in common anymore. Just constant arguments." Tears welled in her eyes. "But we've been together for 5 years. And I don't know how to live after leaving him." "Are you happy now?" I asked. She shook her head. "If you're not happy, why hold on?" I smiled. "Leo, sometimes letting go is also an act of courage. But I'm afraid to be alone." "What's there to fear about being alone?" I said. "You can focus on studying, on work, on chasing your dreams. When you become good enough, you'll meet someone better." Leo nodded, half understanding. "Lyra, don't you feel lonely after the divorce?" "Yes, hadn't fulfilled and sigh." I answered honestly. "But loneliness and solitude are different. Solitude is one person's celebration. Loneliness is feeling isolated in a crowd." "What do you mean?" "It means, when you're alone, you can do anything you want, that's solitude," I explained. "But if you're surrounded by people yet feel no understanding or care, that's loneliness." "I'd rather be alone than lonely." Leo pondered and nodded. After class, I packed up to leave but found a familiar figure at the door, Julian. He wore casual clothes, holding a bouquet of fresh flowers, looking somewhat nervous. "What are you doing here?" I asked as I approached. "I heard you started a training class. Wanted to congratulate you." He handed me the flowers. "Congratulations, Lyra." "Thank you." I took the flowers, my favorite white roses. "How's the course going?" he asked. "Pretty well. The students are all diligent," I said. "How about you? How have you been?" "Good." He smiled. "The Jazmín situation settled. And the company's seeing new growth." "That's good." We walked side by side toward the parking lot, the atmosphere a bit awkward. "Lyra." Julian suddenly stopped. "What's wrong?" "Seeing you doing so well makes me happy." He looked at me, eyes full of sincerity. "Honestly, I've been worried about you." "Worried about what?" "Worried you'd collapse over this," he said. "After all those years together, suddenly apart. You're overthinking." I smiled. "I'm stronger than you think." "Yes, but I can see that now." Julian smiled too. "You look more vibrant than before." "Because I found a new purpose," I said. "Julian, what?" "Actually, I want to thank you." "Thank me?" "Thank you for helping me rediscover myself." I looked at him. If not for this divorce, I might never have known how wonderful life can be on my own. Julian was silent for a moment. "Lyra, can I ask you something?" "What?" "Would you consider starting a new relationship?" His question caught me off guard. "Why do you ask?" "Because I think you deserve a better love," he said. "Though we weren't right for each other, that doesn't mean you won't find someone who is." I thought a moment. "Maybe, sigh. If I meet the right person. That's a relief." Julian sighed. "Lyra, though we can't be husband and wife, I sincerely hope you find happiness." "You too," I said. Julian sigh. "I hope you find the one truly meant for you." "I will." He nodded. "Well, goodbye then." "Goodbye." Watching Julian drive away, I stood there for a long time. 25 years of marriage had ended completely. Yet, I didn't feel sorrow, only relief. Some relationships exist to teach us growth. Now, we have both learned. Half a year later, my design training class had reached its third session. Word of mouth was growing stronger, and students kept increasing. I also launched online courses, gradually expanding my influence. That afternoon, I was preparing the next course content in my office when my assistant Owen knocked and came in. "Lyra, there's a gentleman outside who wants to see you." "What's it about?" I asked without looking up. "He says he wants to enroll in our course but wants to talk to you first." I frowned. Usually, Owen handled inquiries. It was rare for someone to specifically request to meet me. "Let him in." The door opened, and in walked a man in his 30s. He was tall and slim, dressed simply in a white shirt and black trousers, with a refined demeanor. "Hello, Lyra." He extended his hand politely. "My name is Miles. I'm an architect." I shook his hand. "Hello. Please have a seat." Miles sat down and got straight to the point. "Lyra, I want to learn interior design not to change careers, but to better understand space." "Oh? That was an interesting reason." "When designing buildings, I often consider interior layouts but lack professional interior design knowledge," Miles explained. "I heard your course is very practical, so I wanted to try it." "Which firm are you with?" I asked. "I have my own studio. Mainly small architectural projects," he said. "Villas, clubs, that kind of work." I nodded. "Then you definitely need some interior design knowledge." "Yes." Miles smiled. "I also heard you're an expert in this field, so I'm particularly eager to learn from you." His sincerity made me like him instantly. Good. "Welcome to our course," I said, "but I should warn you. Our course is designed for beginners, so some content might be a bit basic for you." "That's fine. A solid foundation is the best." We discussed course details further. Miles remained professional and courteous throughout. As I saw him out, he suddenly asked, "Lyra, may I ask, would you be willing to discuss design cases with students during your free time?" "Of course. That's part of teaching." "That's great." He smiled. "I have many ideas I want to share with you." The next day, Miles arrived punctually for class. He sat in the front row, listening attentively and taking detailed notes. During breaks, he would actively engage with other students, sharing his experiences in architectural design. Before long, he became one of the most popular students in the class. A month later, Miles came to discuss a project with me. "Lyra, I've taken on a villa design project. The owner wants the architecture and interior to have a unified plan." He pulled out a set of blueprints. "Could you take a look?" I studied his designs carefully and had to admit, his architectural skills were impressive. "This design is quite good," I said. "But there are still some areas in the interior layout that could be optimized. Could you be more specific?" I picked up a pen and marked several spots on the plans, explaining my ideas in detail. Miles listened intently and asked questions from time to time. We discussed for a full 2 hours. And in the end, he was satisfied as he put away the drawings. "Lyra, your advice is incredibly helpful," he said. "I think this kind of collaboration is meaningful. Would you be interested in becoming my long-term consultant?" "A consultant?" I was a bit surprised. "Yes. I can offer you consulting fees," Miles explained. "And I believe this cooperation would benefit us both." I thought it over and found the proposal appealing. It could increase my income and broaden my business scope. Why not? "All right. Let's give it a try." From then on, Miles often came to discuss projects with me. Our collaboration was smooth. His architectural design and my interior work complemented each other well. Gradually, I discovered that Miles was not only an excellent architect but also a very interesting person. He was knowledgeable, witty, and had a deep appreciation for art. Talking with him always taught me something new. Sometimes after work discussions, we'd chat about other topics: travel, food, movies, even life philosophy. I realized we shared many viewpoints. One weekend 3 months later, Miles suggested we visit an art exhibition. "This is a solo show by a friend of mine," he said. "The works are quite good. If you're free, Why don't we check it out together? I thought for a moment and nodded. The exhibition was held at an art gallery downtown. The pieces were mostly abstract paintings, rich in color and emotionally evocative. What do you think? Miles asked, stopping in front of one painting. I studied it carefully. A female figure painted in warm tones, full of strength. Very interesting, I said. This painting expresses women's independence and resilience, doesn't it? Yes, Miles said, looking at me. The artist said it's dedicated to all women brave enough to pursue freedom. It reminds me a lot of you. Me? I was a little surprised. Yes. He nodded. You have a very special aura, independent, confident, and full of vitality. His compliment made me a bit shy. You flatter me. I'm serious, Miles said earnestly. Lyra, I really admire you. Admire me for what? For being able to find your direction again at a turning point in life, he said. Many people fall apart when faced with setbacks. But you're different. You turned your difficulties into new opportunities. His words brought back memories of those tough times. I was confused too, I admitted. But later I realized that instead of drowning in past pain, it's better to focus on future possibilities. That's why I admire you. Miles smiled. Lyra, you're the wisest woman I've ever met. His words warmed my heart. No one had praised me so sincerely in a long time. After the exhibition, Miles suggested we go to a nearby CAF. Thanks for coming with me today, he said. It's been a long time since I had such a deep discussion about art. I enjoyed it too, I replied. You have a profound understanding of art. Maybe because of my profession, Miles said. Architecture itself is an art. We talked for a long time. From art to philosophy. From work to life. Before I knew it, it was dark outside. Time flies. I glanced at my watch. I should head back. I'll walk you out, Miles offered. No, I drove here myself. Then I'll take you to the parking lot. As we walked, Miles suddenly asked, Lyra, can I ask you a personal question? What is it? Would you consider starting a new relationship now? His question caught me off guard. I looked at him and saw a familiar emotion in his eyes. A look of admiration. I was silent for a moment, facing Miles's question. Why do you ask? I countered. Miles took a deep breath. Because I want to pursue you. His straightforwardness surprised me. Miles, I know this might seem sudden, but I don't want to hide my feelings anymore, he said earnestly. Lyra, these past few months together have made me develop deep feelings for you. You're smart, elegant, independent, with your own career and pursuits. Being with you makes me happy and fulfilled. His words stirred warmth inside me. But at the same time, I felt a bit panicked. After all, this was the first time I faced such a situation since my divorce. Miles. I wanted to say something but didn't know how to begin. You don't have to answer right away. Miles saw my hesitation. I just wanted you to know how I feel. If you're not ready for a new relationship yet, I can wait. You're willing to wait? As long as you don't reject me. I will. He smiled. Lyra, you deserve to be cherished. Miles's confession made me realize that maybe I had truly moved on from my previous marriage. Back home, I sat on the sofa, thinking for a long time, facing his feelings. I didn't feel resistance, but rather a flutter of affection. He really was an excellent man, talented, tasteful, and respectful of me. With him, I felt relaxed and joyful. But was I truly ready to start a new relationship? This question troubled me for days. It wasn't until Quinn came to me that I decided to share everything with her. What? Someone confessed to you? Quinn's eyes wide and like saucers. Who is it? When? I told her the whole story about Miles. Sounds like a good man, Quinn said. The real question is, what do you think? I don't know either, I said with a troubled sigh. I do have feelings for him, but I'm not sure if it's love. Lyra, you're overthinking it. Quinn laughed. Love isn't that complicated. If you like someone, be with them. If you don't, just say no. It's that simple. But I just got divorced. So what? Quinn cut in. You're not becoming a nun. Why can't you start something new? And from what you've described, this Miles seems way better than Julian. She added. At least he appreciates you and respects you. She had a point. So, do you think I should say yes to him? I asked. That depends on how you feel, Quinn said. If you like him, give it a chance. If not, be honest and turn him down. But don't miss out on a good man because of fear. Her words suddenly cleared my mind. Yes, why should I be afraid? I'd already proven I could live independently and found a new purpose in life. If someone wants to share this new chapter with me, why not give it a chance? The next day, I took the initiative to call Miles. Miles, are you free? I want to talk. Of course. His voice sounded a bit nervous. Where shall we meet? At that same CAF. When we met, I got straight to the point. I've thought a lot about what you said the other day. Miles looked at me nervously. Waiting. I do have feelings for you, I said. But I have to be honest, I just got divorced and might need time to adjust to a new relationship. I understand. Miles nodded. I can wait. Also, my career is my current focus. I won't give up my ambitions for a relationship. I don't want you to give up, Miles said earnestly. On the contrary, I want to support your career. All right then. I smiled. If you don't mind dating a newly divorced woman and taking things slow, we can give it a try. A brilliant smile spread across Miles's face. Lyra, thank you for this chance. What should I call you? I asked. I can't keep calling you Miles forever. Just Miles is fine. He said. Can I call you Lyra? Of course. And so, I began seeing Miles. He never rushed our relationship but patiently stood by my side. During weekdays, we focused on our careers separately. On weekends, we watched movies, visited exhibitions, or discussed design ideas together. He never interfered with my work. Instead, he often offered helpful advice. Sometimes, when I worked late, he'd bring me a cup of hot coffee. Other times, when I struggled with difficult clients, he listened patiently to my complaints and helped amass solutions. With him, I felt relaxed and natural. Not like with Julian, where an invisible pressure always lingered. 6 months later, our relationship had grown steady. Though not officially a couple, everyone could see how much we cared for each other. One evening, Miles came over for dinner. I cooked some of his favorite dishes and opened a bottle of red wine. Lyra, I want to talk about something, he said suddenly over the meal. What is it? I accepted a big project that requires me to go out of town for 3 months. He said reluctantly. But I don't want to be away from you so long. Work comes first. You should go, I said. 3 months will fly by. Really? You won't feel lonely? No. I smiled. I have my own work to keep me busy. And we can video call. Miles looked at me, eyes full of emotion. Lyra, you're amazing, he said. With you, I never have to worry that my work will make you unhappy. Because I understand your ambitions, I said. Just as you understand mine. At that moment, I finally understood what it meant to find the right person. The right person doesn't ask you to change who you are, but admires your true self. They don't want you to give up anything, but support you in becoming your best. During Miles's 3-month trip, we talked every day. He shared funny work stories, and I updated him on my training classes. Though miles apart, our bond only deepened. After 3 months, Miles returned. He came straight from the airport to my training class and gave me a warm hug. I missed you so much, he whispered in my ear. At that moment, I knew my feelings for sure. I missed you too. I returned his embrace. Miles, I love you. It was the first time I said those 3 words to him. He was almost moved to tears. Lyra, I love you too. He held me tight. Thank you for making me believe that perfect love really exists. A year later, we got married. The wedding was simple, with only close friends and family invited. I wore a simple white gown, and Miles wore a black suit. Unlike my first grand wedding, this one was filled with warmth and sincerity. When exchanging rings, Miles said to me, Lyra, Thank you for giving me a chance to be part of your life. I promise to love, support, and stand by you for the rest of my life. Looking into his sincere eyes, I felt deeply moved. Miles, thank you for making me believe that even a woman in her 40s can have a fairy tale love. Warm applause rang out. Quince sat in the front row, tears nearly streaming down. So touching, she exclaimed loudly. Lyra, you finally found true happiness. Yes, Heathleaf too. I found true happiness. Not a happiness dependent on others, but one where two independent individuals support and grow with each other. Now, I have both a thriving career and a fulfilling love. My design training class flourished into a well-known brand in the industry. Miles's architecture firm also thrived, and we often collaborated on projects. At work, we were the best partners. In life, the closest companions. Sometimes when I think of my marriage with Julian, there's no resentment, only gratitude. Grateful that he taught me independence, strength, and what true love really means. Without that divorce, I might never have met Miles or discovered my own vast potential. Life is like that closing one door opens another window. The key is having the courage to step out and embrace new possibilities. Now, at 47, successful in career and love, I finally understand, a woman's happiness is not given by others, but created by herself. Only when you are strong and independent enough can you meet someone who truly appreciates you. This is my story, one of new beginnings. May every woman lost at life's crossroads find her own happiness. Remember, it's never too late to start over. The end. I am the daughter of a legendary domineering president. But several of my friends, like me, are also children of domineering presidents. From what I observe, one is a plot of a young wife running away with a child. One is a sweet story of childhood sweethearts. And there is also a white moonlight stand in literature. We have our own small group, and the group name changes according to the topic of discussion at different times. For example, the group name during this period is called Those Cheesy Love Words Spoken by Domineering Presidents in Those Years. Domineering President's Daughter Ray. I heard my dad say before, "Woman, you will never escape from my palm in this lifetime." Me, your dad is a bit old-fashioned. Domineering President's Son B. My dad said, "Smile, and I'll give you my life." Me, this one is quite modern. What did your mom answer at that time? Domineering President's Son B. My mom seemed to say that it's enough if you give me the money. Me, your mother is very clear-headed. Domineering President's Son C. My real dad said, "Being even a little bit like her is your blessing." Me, scumbag. Domineering President's Daughter A, scumbag. Domineering President's Son B, a disgrace in the world of domineering presidents. After a long time, Domineering President's Son C sent another message in the group, so my mom found me a new dad. Me, Kadahawa Sai. A, B, awesome. Being the daughter of a domineering president, it also has many troubles. For example, when I saw the 13th secretary who spilled coffee on my dad's clothes, and the 11th secretary who tried to turn my dad gay and was fired. When I was in high school, I realized the seriousness of the matter. So I decided to personally interview my dad's next secretary. The interview had already started, and I was late. Among the many enchanting candidates, I immediately noticed a person who was green and innocent. Looking like a small poplar tree. He didn't seem to have any bad intentions. Kim. He looks like Tang Sang. I waved my hand grandly at the interviewer and made the decision. That person was also stunned. It seemed that he didn't expect me to be so hasty. After a long time, I heard him utter a sentence. "How did you know my name is Tyson?" I looked at his interview information. It was really Tyson. This was really a beautiful misunderstanding. He must be thinking, how can this daughter of the president have an accent? Later, I learned that there was more than one misunderstanding. My domineering dad told me in that deep and magnetic voice described in novels that Tyson was an assistant arranged for me. He also said that this time it was my own choice. So I couldn't refuse. Okay. This is very domineering president. Recently, the name of the group was changed again by some impulsive person. The title became, Summarize the Love Stories of Domineering Dads in 3 Sentences. Everyone started to get excited again and was ready to have a lively exchange in the group. Domineering president's daughter Ray. He runs. She chases. He can't escape even if he has wings. Me, Ray. Reversed, right? Domineering president's daughter Ray. Oh, sorry. It is reversed. No big deal. Domineering president's son B. He was shocked. She trembled. The bed collapsed. Me, the wheels are running over my face. Domineering president's son C sneering in front of the screen. My mom cuckolded my dad and then married my dad's uncle. Me, having a full self-wide session. A real tough one. The MVP of this round goes to domineering president's son C again. B, C. What about you? I fell into deep thought looking at the neat cue on the screen. The only difference between me and the three of them is that their plots are all HE endings. But for my dad, it seems to be a BE. I haven't seen my mom. My dad rarely mentions her in front of me. Sometimes when I ask, his eyes become a pie chart, with 3 parts desolation, 3 parts nostalgia, and 4 parts sadness. It makes me dare not ask anymore, but according to the secretaries who were fired by my dad before, the relationship between my parents was also very intense. Alas, I don't know how they ended in a bad way. I only know that every year he will go to a cemetery. There is a poplar tree planted there. And there is mistletoe on the poplar tree. I still decide to dig deeper into the story between my dad and my mom. Next time I complain, I must win. Of course. Mainly because of my damn curiosity. Who cannot be curious about their own mother? Miss. This isn't good, right? Tyson stood outside the door, nervously keeping watch for me. I was still rummaging through my dad's study. My dad's previous secretary said that my dad's safe is full of things about my mom. And as far as I know, the password for all my dad's safes and electronic devices is 122,527. Sure enough, I found that one safe seemed a bit suspicious. Because its password was not 122,527. I hesitated for a moment and tentatively entered 123,456. Drip. Believe it or not, the safe actually opened. But inside was another smaller safe. I continued to enter 123,456. The safe opened again. But inside was an even smaller safe. I secretly thought to myself, good grief. Are you playing Matryoshka dolls with me, dear? Just when I was about to continue opening it, suddenly a hand reached out from behind and lifted me up. If I didn't come, see how long you could keep pressing here. This arrogant and cold voice is definitely my dad. President. Tyson only then shouted. I secretly glared at him, blaming him for not warning me earlier. Who would have thought that this look was caught by my domineering dad? He snorted coldly. Tyson is originally my person. Although I know what my dad meant by this. It sounds a bit strange. You still think you searched quite secretly, right? The moment you entered the study, you were captured by the electronic eye. My dad gave me a disdainful look. I nodded knowingly. Understood. Next time I enter the study, I will dismantle the surveillance camera first. But how can I, a 15-year-old girl, dismantle it? I turned my gaze to Tyson with a hint of kindness. Tyson, as a top student majoring in computer engineering, I decide to let you shine in your field of expertise. Tyson, you can tell me directly what you want me to do. Me, can you hack into the surveillance system in my dad's study? Then Tyson was silent for a moment and said something that made me sigh at the profoundness of Chinese culture. Tyson, I can. But I can't. My understanding is, he can hack the system. But he can't betray my dad. For nothing is impossible. My life is in my own hands. Not in my dad's. Taking advantage of the day when my dad goes to the cemetery every year, I sneaked into the study again and tried to open the safe with the password 123,456. Inside were layers upon layers. It was hard to imagine that it took me until my hands were almost broken to open the last safe. This time, when the password lock was opened, finally, hadn't told me, it was no longer a safe inside. With excitement, I eliminated the inside of the safe with a flashlight and took out all the things inside in one go. Inside were not the photos and personal items of my mom that I had imagined. Instead, it was one letter after another. The letters were simply packaged. Pure white. And they were not even deliberately sealed. Instead, they were casually opened. But I encountered a problem. As a Libra, I had difficulty choosing and didn't know which letter to read first. When in doubt, use quantum mechanics. I closed my eyes and randomly opened one. After opening my eyes, I saw that the top of the paper was marked with a date. The year was more than 10 years ago. The content read, Natalie. This time I won't forget you. No matter how beautiful the handwriting is. It can't hide the fact that it's a bit embarrassing. Could this be a love letter my dad wrote to my mom in his early years? No wonder he didn't let me see it. Man. Looking at the countless letters behind. I thought for a while and stuffed them all back. I won't read them anymore. Let my dad retain a little dignity in my heart. But it's only now that I know that my mom's name is Nally. 5. In the end, this matter was still discovered by my domineering dad, who returned to the villa in the evening. Looking at his gloomy face, I felt a mysterious sense of oppression. My dad gave me a cool look and then said this sentence: when you earn 10 billion, I will tell you everything you want to know. As expected of a domineering president. Saying 10 billion is so easy. I was silent for a moment and then asked in return, does selling your property also count as earning 10 billion? I watched my dad sneer and say word by word, it must be earned by you yourself. In person. Me, actually. My curiosity is not that strong. Facts have proved that having fun is having fun. Don't joke with your own dad. My domineering dad told me that this 10 billion plan was originally going to be proposed on my 18th birthday. Now it has been advanced by 3 years because of me. First of all, I decided to ask those few people in the group for help. As we all know, the children of domineering presidents all have some special abilities. For example, A can speak 8 languages. B has graduated with a Ph.D. At my age, C is more mysterious. I don't know what special ability he has. So what about me? I can play the piano, paint, and dance various dances. But does this have anything to do with 10 billion? No relationship. Just before I was about to change the group name to How to Earn 10 Billion, I saw someone in the group send a message. Domineering President's daughter A, guys. I'm back in the country. Why did A use the word back in the country? Because her young wife mom is still on the run. And now, for some unknown reason, she has run back. Speaking of which, the 3 people in the group all have their own names. But I just note them as A, B, and C. This has a reason. I met A, having fulfilled my answer. B, and C at an auction. Like A, B and C often disappear. So it's already a lot if we can meet once a year. But I understand. After all, everyone has their own main storylines to develop. What I can't understand is that Miss A has always been very reluctant to reveal her Chinese name. So I simply call her by her English name, Ola usually. And the nerd is simplified to A. For the sake of fairness and also because I'm lazy, I noted the others as B and C respectively. I happened to come to the city where I grew up this time. Before picking her up, I couldn't wait to start asking about her Chinese name again on the phone. She thought for a while on the other end. Her attitude seemed to soften. Call me by my nickname. Sienna. My curiosity surged again. I persisted in asking. Sienna. What a nice nickname. Your full name must be even more beautiful. Under my flattery and sweet talk, there was silence on the other end for a long time before she said, do you really want to know? I firmly said, yes. I heard her take a deep breath. Then she said in one go, my full name is Nicholas Mary Sue. Me. I don't know what got into my head at that time. After a short silence, I replied, in fact, my full name is amoxicillin capsule. Sienna? Tyson was sitting next to me at that time. He lowered his head. The air was very quiet. But don't think I didn't notice his shoulders trembling with suppressed laughter. 6. My annual meeting with Sienna ended in failure like this. Of course. It's definitely not my fault. It's because after finishing the call with her, the line was inexplicably disconnected. Just passing by my domineering dad's company, I had a sudden idea to go and comfort this man who is working hard to earn money to support his daughter. Because the domineering president is always in meetings. So after considering, I just sent a text message. Dear father, your lovely daughter is downstairs of your company. Are you willing to spare some time to have lunch with your lovely daughter? Fine. Who is in a meeting? President. Is there any problem with my report? The project manager saw that Ethan's eyebrows seemed to twitch, thinking that he had said something wrong. Ethan looked at his watch. It's 12 o'clock. That's all for today. At the same time, I arrived at the floor where my dad, Ethan, was. I also just saw him coming out of the conference room, followed by a large group of people. It's quite cool. As long as he doesn't speak. How is your progress in earning 10 billion? He asked. Me, you really think highly of me. I can only spend 10 billion. After thinking for a long time, I still boldly fought for myself. Pitifully said. Why set such a difficult and even impossible task? Are you really so cruel to your delicate daughter? I saw him look at me in confusion. Then he slowly said. Is earning 10 billion very difficult? I could tell from his eyes that he was asking seriously. Oh. I sighed in the back seat of the Rolls-Royce. Tyson, this is the 56th sigh you've made since getting in the car. Me, I can sigh for the 57th time. I turned to look at Tyson and asked. Do you think I can earn 10 billion by singing and dancing? Tyson was silent for a moment and then said. I think it would be more reliable for you to find someone to kidnap yourself, and then ask the president for a ransom of 10 billion than this. My eyes lit up. Sincerely asked in return. Can I? Tyson. 7. I feel that Tyson seems to be preoccupied and very tired every day recently. For example, today he fell asleep on the way to send me to a violin competition. It's really like a monk in meditation. Only then did I notice that this man has really good skin. Fair and clean. Even more delicate than my skin that I have spent a lot of money to maintain. This is probably genetics. Thinking of my skin that breaks out with acne after eating a dessert, I was a little jealous. Tang sang. Tang sang. I tentatively called him twice when I was about to get off the car. However, he still didn't wake up. Seeing that he didn't wake up, I was possessed by a ghost and reached out to pinch his cheek. Not bad. Then he woke up and caught my misbehaving hand on the spot. You listened to my excuse. I blinked, thinking of my lecherous behavior. I was rarely ashamed for once. After Tyson found out it was my hand, he immediately let go. It's you. His tone seemed a bit helpless. His voice had a hoarse feeling after just waking up. Before getting off the car, I suddenly asked him, what do you usually like to eat? What do you eat to have such good skin? Tyson was stunned for a moment. Fortunately, he was already used to my jumping thinking. After recovering, he tentatively answered, Greens? I nodded, not surprised at all. Tang sang. They all eat vegetarian food, but I still want to know why he is so tired every day. Does it have something to do with me? After thinking for a while, I asked in the group, me, what usually makes you mentally exhausted? Domineering President's son B, when I'm in a bad mood. Like now. I felt that B seemed a little down today. Just when I was about to comfort him and ask what happened, I saw another message pop up. Domineering President's son C, I'm in a good mood. Don't affect me. Domineering President's son B. C has always been good at messing with his friends' minds. 8. I unilaterally think that Tyson and I are friends. So when a friend is in a bad mood, of course I have to be more loyal. To find out what happened to Tyson. After the competition, I cleared my throat and made a phone call imitating my dad's usual tone. Hello. Check someone for me. Of course. I can't let Tyson check on himself, so I called my dad's secretary. But what I didn't know was that as soon as the secretary saw it was my call, he handed the phone to my dad. Ethan, who received the call. Tell me. Who do you want to check? This is very embarrassing. I have to continue pretending even if I cry because of the bravado I showed. Without thinking, I sneered. Man. There are some things you shouldn't know. Ethan. He thought he could have another child while he was still young. The next day, I chose to directly ask Tyson himself. After thinking for a moment, he casually said, "Oh, you mean a few days ago? The hamster I raised for a year died. That's it?" The next day, having fulfilled my obsession, Tyson happily told me again. "Miss, I saw a hamster exactly like the one I buried before at my doorstep this morning. It should be that my hamster has come back to life." Me, congratulations. It seems that the merchant didn't cheat me. The hamster I bought is quite similar to the one Tyson raised. 9. Until I was 18. The matter of 10 billion was in a state of being forgotten by me. On the day of my 18th birthday. How can the daughter of a domineering president not have a grand birthday party? My dad rarely took out a whole precious day to celebrate my birthday with me. Not only that. Although Sienna didn't appear on my birthday, she contracted all the LED screens in the city that month, playing my birthday wishes in a loop. Fortunately, hadn't fulfilledly, I have social. I wasn't embarrassed by my big head photo being played in a loop for a month, and she simply and rudely arranged a whole month of drone shows and fireworks shows. Plus, hadn't fulfilled land say. Here freight at a box of jewels that could blind me. Needless to say, it's quite romantic. This young man has a great future. Tyson gave me a little hamster, saying that the pair he raised recently gave birth to a baby. There is a strange feeling of being spoiled. B did come on the day of my banquet. He gave me a calligraphy work. Is this by Wang Shizi H. Higher Yanzhen King? I took the gift. He looked at me. Answered very proudly. I wrote it myself. Are you touched? Only then did I see that written by Sean was indeed written in the lower right corner. Yes. You read it right. B's full name is Sean. This name can already be said to be a winner in life. Every time I silently read his name, I can almost imagine the funny scene when others call him young Master Sean. But I still nodded politely. I will hang it in Milky's room later. He asked me in confusion. Who is Milky? The little hamster that Tice and just gave me. Sean, you took all the bamboo on the mountain. 10. What did my dad give me? He said. Send me abroad. Wait. Going abroad? Isn't this a plot that only supporting female characters have in novels? Am I going to be abandoned by my dad? I admit that it was me who broke the David sculpture in your collection room. Ethan? I also admit that I entered my own fingerprint into your phone before. Ethan? There's really nothing else. My dad seemed to be silent for a long time. Then he told me with an indescribable expression. I just plan to let you go, and learn and follow up on a few overseas projects. Then he added, Tyson will go with you. Me, then it's okay. My dad just made a normal move. I used all my flash and big moves. 11. Later. I learned that my dad planned to let me enter the group after I turned 18. Tyson was also cultivated as my secretary after I inherited the family business. Tyson was so tired those days because he had been following my dad to learn and handle affairs. At the moment when my dad drafted the equity transfer agreement, I realized that my special ability is being talented and wealthy. Before completely inheriting the family property, my dad mentioned that the equity transfer agreement would take effect only after I earned 10 billion. Also because of what I said, the originally 3-month overseas plan was extended to half a year by my dad. I perfectly add what is called no zuo no die. Before starting to go abroad and pursue my $10 billion life goal, I told A, B, and C. But I didn't deliberately go to see them. I know. I have my own main task. They also have their stories. And their stories may be even more exciting than mine. Why do I know? Of course. Because I am the author. Yes. You guessed right. To be precise, Sienna is the daughter of the male and female protagonists in my second early novel. Sean is the son of the male and female protagonists in my third campus suite novel. And C should be the son of the male and female protagonists in my fourth novel, where the second male lead takes over and becomes the main character. When I was writing, I didn't write them all in the same time and space. But when I traveled in, I found that they were actually in the same era. So absurd. And I didn't write the story after these male and female protagonists had children. So after knowing the names of A, B, and C and the specific plots of their parents, I accurately located which novel I wrote they belonged to. As for my dad, when I saw the name Natalie, I suddenly remembered. This seems to be a youth pain novel that I wrote and left unfinished when I was in junior high school. The names of the two characters still come from the lyrics of a song that I especially loved listening to when I was in junior high school, if I remember correctly. This pair is a bit tragic. At that time, because of the high school entrance examination, I forced the female protagonist to disappear. Woo. I'm sorry, Dad. He is the saddest male protagonist in my writings. I hope that as his daughter in this life, I can give him a perfect HE ending. End of main text extra chapter 1. At the age of 23, I finally achieved the small goal of 10 billion. And Tyson has always been by my side. From the original young poplar to an old poplar. Miss. In the morning, there is a ribbon cutting ceremony. At noon, you have an appointment for golf. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there is a business summit. In the evening, stop reading. Stop reading. To be honest, every time Tyson reports my work schedule to me, I feel that I am not the boss. I am the one who is working. When will my dad come back from Norway? I turned my head and asked hopelessly. After my domineering dad handed over a lot of cumbersome and complicated work to me, he went on a trip to Norway alone. Who made me owe him in my previous life? Truly, karma is a cycle. Just when I was about to leave the company after getting out of the elevator, a person holding a steamed bun and in a hurry rushed straight towards me. Before Tyson and I could react, he bumped into me directly. The steamed bun with meat sauce that he had taken a bite of rolled from my upper body clothes all the way down to my shoes. It's still filled with meat sauce. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The young man quickly bowed and apologized to me, and picked up the meat sauce bun on my shoes. I frowned. Just as I was about to speak, Tyson gave me a look that said, I understand you, and spoke sternly before me. Do you know how much the clothes on Miss cost? This sounds more like a villain than a villain. But in fact, the reason I frowned was just because this meat sauce bun is so fragrant. I'm a little hungry. I didn't have breakfast for the meeting. The reason why those presidents in president novels get stomach problems is finally found. Then the young man wasn't scared. Instead, he grabbed the corner of my clothes. His ears were a little red. With a shy and nervous expression, he asked me, May I have your phone number so that I can transfer the money to you later? I was in a hurry to eat. Subconsciously pointing to Tyson beside me, I replied, You can leave his. Just transfer it to him. Tyson, are you allergic to love? The young man was stunned for a moment. The shyness on his face also turned into momentary stiffness. I didn't think much about it. I left the company without looking back, leaving Tyson and him behind. Later, when I was full and satisfied, I realized that under that situation, there were two normal options. One was to say generously that there was no need to pay back. The other was to take the opportunity to give out my contact information. But I somehow chose a third abnormal option that is both stingy and simple. 2. Tyson is very strange recently. He always gets distracted at work or starts 2 days for no reason. Your goji berry tea. Just today, Tyson came into the office and handed me a cup of tea as usual. Don't ask me why I drink goji berry tea. The reason is that I don't want to get stomach problems like those presidents at a young age. Just when I took a satisfied sip of tea, Tyson suddenly said again, Sorry, President E. I think I may have to resign. After Tyson said that sentence, it wasn't him who was distracted at work. It was me. In the afternoon, I saw a person who looked familiar following behind Tyson, holding a pen and seemed to be taking notes on the content of his work to be handed over. President Yi is usually very focused at work, so don't enter her office to disturb her. This is what Tyson said. The person following behind him nodded and answered admiringly. President Yi is so hardworking. I was a little ashamed, because the reason for not being disturbed is that I spend most of my time slacking off and daydreaming. If someone comes in, I still have to pretend and act. President Yi doesn't drink coffee or any alcoholic beverages. Just make her a cup of Goji berry tea every day. Red dates tea is also fine. When Dyson said this, he obviously paused. President Yi should be quite healthy. When the person heard this, he also obviously choked for a moment. I am so health conscious, not for anything else. Mainly because I feel that it's not easy to be rich once. I have to live a few more years. President Yi is allergic to cat hair. There must be no cat hair on your clothes. You don't have a cat, do you? Tyson asked again. I do. Have one. But I will pay attention to tidying up my clothes before seeing President Yi. There is one that is particularly useful for removing hair. I will send you the link later. Assistant Tang. You know so much. Do you also have a cat? The two of them handed over a lot of matters about me and work. Only then did I suddenly realize that I am quite difficult to serve. 3. After all, I still don't want Tyson to resign. After all, we have gone through revolutionary friendships of rummaging through my dad's safe together, helping me skip tutoring classes, and giving me hamsters. I got up early and went to the company specially, ready to talk to Tyson face to face. But I didn't expect the intern assistant who replaced him to tell me, Assistant Tang. He took a leave today. Then he introduced himself to me confidently. Hello. President Yi. My surname is Lin. I am your new assistant. I took a look at him and only then did I realize that this person wasn't the one who bumped into me with a steamed bun. So I blurted out, hello. Assistant Bao. Assistant Lin. The story between me and Assistant Bao should be called. With just 2 encounters. I embarrassed myself twice. 4. Compared to Tyson, Assistant Lin is obviously much more naive. After I finished my routine speech at the business summit and was enjoying the applause from below, I heard Assistant Lin's nervous voice whispering behind me, Young President Yi. Shall we step down now? I replied with a smile, no. Just when Assistant Lin straight and is backed and was respectfully waiting for my next instruction. My leisurely voice came, after I finished speaking. I usually count out Weiss to them before leaving. Assistant Lin. For another example. I successfully inherited the same constitution as my dad that is easily splashed. And at this cocktail party, I was also splashed all over by a fair-looking male waiter holding red wine. As usual, I went to the dressing room and wanted to change into the evening dress prepared in advance. At this time, a pink leopard print dress came into view. I had the picture of myself wearing this dress. It's much more thrilling than a horror movie. In a trance, I remembered what I said to Assistant Lin before leaving. Pick a spare dress for me casually from the current season's new arrivals. 5. Facts have proved that without Tyson, I am like having no ice coke in summer. I can live. It's just that life is meaningless. Finally, heading to Felicidades, I drove to the downstairs of Tyson's house, ready to learn from the wisdom of the ancients and visit him 3 times. Tyson lives in an older residential building. The building is low and the road is narrow. It really has the taste of a thatched cottage. I find it a bit strange. Tyson has been by my side for several years. Logically speaking, judging from the average salary of our group, he should not be the one who drags down the country's GDP. Could it be that my domineering dad is also a stingy capitalist? It's better to come at the right time than early. When I looked up from downstairs, I just saw a familiar figure there, pulling the curtain. I took advantage of the last moment when Dyson closed the curtain. With exaggerated facial expressions, I waved my hands hard and shouted his name loudly. Obviously, he noticed me. His expression was obviously shocked and there was also a bit of confusion. After a minute, Tyson ran down wearing grey home clothes. There was a thin layer of sweat on his forehead, and he was still wearing slippers. Seeing his hasty appearance, I was going to show my routine concern and then get to the point. But my stomach obviously didn't agree with my brain. It growled. 6. Here. I thanked my stomach for successfully allowing me to enter Tyson's house and have a meal. After the meal, I learned that Tyson's house is installed with soundproof glass. So no matter how loudly I shouted outside just now, he couldn't hear me. The witty me offered to help clean up the dishes and ignore this topic. And I finally remembered the purpose of coming to find Tyson. After clearing my throat, I asked him why he resigned. Tyson's hand that was cleaning up the dishes paused. After a moment of silence, he replied, personal problem. I subconsciously turned my head. Is it a problem that can be solved with money? Tyson stroked his forehead and took off the apron he was wearing for cooking. Sorry, young Presidente. My personal problem cannot be solved with money. Can't be solved with money? Man. You have successfully attracted my attention. You should leave. Tyson sighed. However, I still sat straight on the chair and said righteously, no. I shouldn't leave. Tyson? 7. Although Tyson is usually obedient to me, he firmly guards his mouth on this matter. In order to find out what unknown story is behind Tyson, I originally planned to ask my dad directly. But I found that I couldn't contact him at all at this critical moment. This dad is really a pit for his daughter. After thinking hard for a long time, Master Yi, who has been busy for a long time, remembered that small group chat. I directly sent a voice message. I need a little help. Sean, what muscle pearl? Sean has been removed from the group chat. Domineering President's son C. Let's hear it. I have to admit that among the descendants of the 3 male protagonists in my writings, C is the most reliable and Sean is the most outrageous. In the end, C promised to help me find out the reason white ice and proposed to resign. But what I didn't expect was that C, who has always been elusive, and whose name I haven't even had time to introduce, actually said that he would come to find me soon. 8. Looking at the helicopter slowly landing on the rooftop, I was greatly shocked. What shocked me was of course not the helicopter. It was because only 10 minutes had passed between when C said he would come to find me soon and now. So this is how the word soon is used. Long time no see. C greeted me politely. He walked down from the helicopter wearing a camel-colored windbreaker. The black broken hair on his forehead was slightly lifted by the wind brought up by the propeller. It was like a luxurious appearance of a Kori and Rama male lead. It has been a long time since I saw C. Oh, by the way, C's real name is Landon. It can be said that his name is the least funny among us. However, this last name seems a bit familiar. I said righteously. First of all, let's make it clear that we won't do anything that doesn't conform to the core socialist values. Landon. I just need a nominal fee and key. I breathed a sigh of relief. This is simple. With Landon's looks, finding a fee and key is not a difficult thing. She needs some background. I frowned a little and then quickly relaxed. It's a bit difficult but not too difficult. Can act with me. If it doesn't work, spend more money to find a wife for him. It's best if she is the heir of a group. At this moment, my brows have twisted into a knot. If she has black hair, wears a gray dress, and wears a cut-ear bracelet. What a strange request. Wait. Gray dress? Cut-ear bracelet? Isn't this what I'm wearing today? Just report my ID number directly. Me. Actually, I think Sienna is more suitable than me. Landon, but she doesn't have a favor that needs me to help. 8. For Tyson's sake, I also made a huge sacrifice. That day, I was abducted onto the pirate ship by Landon. Oh no, the pirate helicopter. Will I be in danger of life? After getting off the helicopter and seeing 2 rows of guards with serious expressions and strict security, I began to worry about my little life. Landon got off the helicopter after me. As long as you follow me, you won't. At the moment he finished speaking, a bodyguard on the side stepped forward. With a solemn expression. Mr. Tang. A sniper is found at the right rear. Me. I really wasn't comforted. Landon, on the other hand, looked indifferent. Nodded casually and then extended his right arm to me, indicating me to hold it. The show has begun. Fiang Qi. I thought that what Landon would take me to face was either a hail of bullets or a glamorous Vanity Fair. But obviously, my vision is too narrow. As soon as the door opened, I found that inside the huge room, there were 3 people sitting around a table, playing poker. 3 of a kind. 4 of a kind with 2 jokers. Damn it. Do you know how to play? It must be that I opened the door in the wrong way. Just when I was about to open the door again, I saw a familiar figure next to the man with 4 of a kind with 2 jokers. Tyson also looked at me in confusion. I also looked at him in confusion. We didn't say anything. But it seemed that everything had been said. Tyson. Landon. Goodness. We really can't escape the law in romance novels that people with the same last name must be close relatives. Before I could answer, the man with four of a kind with two jokers suddenly rushed out. Familiarly greeted me, and Landon. You're here. Is this your legendary fiancé? When Dyson over there heard this sentence, he looked up at me. His eyes were extremely complicated. It couldn't be covered by a pie chart anymore. Landon, on the other hand, smiled generously. He took out a ring that he didn't know when he had prepared and put it on my finger when others were paying attention. Then he raised our clasped hands to show everyone. The pigeon egg-sized ring was extremely eye-catching. Let me introduce. This young lady is the heir of the Yi Consortium. She is also my fiancée. She is in poor health and relatively introverted, so she seldom accompanied me before. Poor health. Introverted. What's it like to have an acquaintance present when a friend is bragging? Me, thanks for the invitation. I just got off the helicopter. My face is already lost. I didn't dare to look at Tyson's expression anymore. 9. While Landon was chatting with those people, I quietly sneaked to Tyson's side. I looked Tyson up and down, thinking that he didn't look like Landon at all. Tyson seemed to understand what I meant. He coughed lightly. I and Landon are cousins. I nodded. And then curiously looked at the stack of square chips in front of him. Tyson smiled shyly. This is what I won from playing poker just now. I looked at the numbers on the chips. All of them were in the form of $5,000. I roughly estimated with my eyes. There were more than a dozen stacks in front of Tyson. And there were about 20 square chips in each stack. That is to say, what was in front of him was not chips, but sweets. This is not playing poker. This is crushing the landlord. My eyes became filled with respect. Tyson, however, didn't care at all. He pushed the chips in front of me. If you like, you can take them all. Me, shocked JPG. Spread the word. Tyson gave me a sweet. Why don't you keep this money for yourself? I finally couldn't help but speak. Tyson sighed. And said sincerely to me. A master calculated my fortune for me. He said that I am destined into of wealth in my life. I am very good at making money. But I have a relationship with wealth but no fate to keep it. No matter how hard I try, as long as I have more than a certain amount of money in my hand, it will be spent or disappear for various reasons. I think people can't be futile and superstitious. Before I could even finish the word believe, a few bullets flew in front of us. Tyson quickly protected the back of my head and rolled with me to the side. In the chaos, everyone overturned the table. Tyson's chips and the chips of others were mixed together. Some were hit by bullets and shattered. After getting up, Tyson just shrugged. Without any heartache, he pointed to the chips that were mixed together and pierced by bullets. Just like this. He didn't look at those chips that could be exchanged for a sweet too much. Instead, he quickly turned his head and asked me, "Are you not injured?" And Landon also found me at this time. When he saw that I was unharmed and protected by Tyson behind me, he breathed a sigh of relief, and then extended a hand to help me up. "Are you okay?" I looked at the two of them, and then looked at the corner of my clothes that didn't even have a speck of dust. I'm fine. I always felt that the atmosphere had reached this point. If I didn't get injured, it seemed a bit out of place. 10. The room that was still happily playing poker 5 minutes ago is no longer happy. And it's a bit dangerous. Landon immediately took me away from that room. Tyson, me, and Landon walked in a row. Obviously, having fulfilled wisely, we could talk smoothly when we were in pairs. But when the three of us were together, the atmosphere became strangely awkward. The two brothers didn't speak, as if they were competing to see who could be more silent. I broke the silence first. "You seem to have completely guessed what would happen today. You also seem very calm. Not so afraid of death." Landon also stopped and said to me. I answered this sentence extremely seriously. "You must have seen wrong." Landon smiled. And didn't comment on my answer. Fortunately, hadn't fulfilledly. He didn't dwell too much on this topic. Instead, he took me and stopped in front of a hidden door. "There is a secret room inside. It's very safe. You and Tyson go in and hide for a while. I will come and pick you up after I deal with the things outside. I asked curiously. Didn't you say that being by your side is the safest? Landon, there is a saying that the most dangerous place is the safest place. If you are willing to take risks with me, I don't mind. Me, the secret room is good. I used to love playing escape room games the most. Landon then turned to look at Tyson, who had been silent all this time. He raised his eyebrows. What about you? For some reason, I always felt that Landon seemed to have a bit of hostility towards Tyson. Tyson raised his eyes and looked at me, and then helplessly answered. I will follow Missy. Moreover, I have no interest in inheritance rights at all. You don't need to be hostile to me. After hearing Tyson's words, I was sure that it wasn't Maya. Landon's voice was faint. My hostility towards you is not because of this. Don't walk around inside. Wait for me to come back, Landon said to me after opening the door of the secret room. Before I went in, curiosity made me ask one more question. If I didn't agree to pretend to be your fee and key, what would you do today? Landon, then I could only let Sean wear women's clothes. It seems that I missed some amazing plot. 11. After the door of the secret room was closed, it was back to the time when Dyson and I were alone again. In fact, we rarely have the opportunity to be alone. After all, the places where we meet are either at the company or in my big villa full of servants. Counting this, it is the second time we are alone together. As I walked, I finished all my speculations in one breath. Your resignation is related to the Tang family? The head of the Tang family is about to die. So the people below start to stir and prepare to fight for property. Because you have the blood of the Tang family, you are involuntarily involved. And then you don't want to involve our group. So you resign to me? Tyson was stunned for a while, and then slowly nodded. You? How do you know? I breathed a sigh of relief. All those years of writing romance novels before crossing over were not in vain. But how should I explain to Tyson? While I was worrying, after Tyson observed me for a while, his expression became serious. I'm impressed. Could it be that you can also tell fortunes? Me. This child has been feudal and superstitious since he was a child. I cleared my throat. To prevent things from getting more absurd, I changed the topic. You have already resigned. I am not your boss anymore. So you don't need to use honorific S to me. Tyson was silent for a while. Mainly because I'm used to it. I took the opportunity to offer a way out. Since you are used to it, then don't resign. Okay? Tyson, but don't you already have assistant Lynn? I waved my hand. The words blurted out without thinking. But I still like you to be my assistant. Tyson stopped. His ears seemed a little red. And I also realized that what I said was a bit inappropriate. I mean, assistant Lynn is not very good. Tyson. It seemed even more inappropriate. After a long silence, I finally realized a problem. That is, Tyson and I didn't know where we had walked. Simply put, we were lost. Me, is there a map here? Tyson, Landon has one. I've seen it. I breathed a half sigh of relief. And the other half was blocked by Tyson's latter sentence and couldn't come out. But that map is too complicated. I didn't remember it. I didn't realize the seriousness of the matter yet. It's okay. If we keep walking straight, we should be able to find the exit. Tyson, but this secret room has many forks. Me, if it really doesn't work, we can go back and walk to the entrance. The earth is round. We can always walk back. Tyson, but this secret room is 5,000 square meters. 12. A good cool novel plot was turned into PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds by me. The good news is that at least there is someone with me. When I was completely desperate and was about to start writing a will, Tyson suddenly asked me, "Do you have your phone with you?" I was glad that the dress I was wearing today had a hidden small pocket. I kindled a glimmer of hope, took out the phone in my pocket and handed it over. I did bring it. But there is no signal here. Right? Tyson took the phone. There is none. Well, the hope is gone. He then added lightly. But this building is covered by Wi-Fi. The most complex secret rooms often use the simplest solutions. After Tyson and I connected to Wi-Fi, we directly sent a distress message to the outside world. After Tyson's operations, he also obtained the complete map of the secret room. Sure enough, more people mean more strength. With unremitting efforts and wisdom, we successfully returned to the entrance. Don't ask why we didn't go directly to the exit. Because the map shows that the exit is locked. And it's not an electronic lock. It's a physical lock. 13. After returning to the entrance, Tyson and I sat facing each other, ready to wait for a destined person to open the door for us. The lighting in the entire secret room was a bit dim, making Tyson's eyes seem a bit darker. He lowered his eyelashes as if thinking about something. I suddenly thought that if Landon and Tyson were cousins, then Landon's father and Tyson's father were brothers. In the story I wrote, Landon's father did have an elder brother. Only that elder brother was a villain and a scumbag. Tyson, how did your parents meet? I asked tentatively. At the same time, I searched in my mind who the 18 girlfriends of Tyson's father were respectively. Tyson's expression darkened. He softly replied, "My mother was just one of my father's lovers. After my mother gave birth to me, she got cancer. And my father has always been indifferent to us." I had thought that Tyson would have a miserable life with such a father. But I didn't expect it to be so miserable. Thinking that Tyson's father was also written by me, I exclaimed, "What a sin." Because I knew the law that villains in novels must have no good end. So I patted Tyson's shoulder with a certain look in my eyes. Such a father will be punished. To increase credibility and have a comforting effect, I added another sentence. "Believe me. After all, you said that I can tell fortunes." Tyson smiled, and nodded again. His eyes were clear and sincere. "Well, I believe you." At this warm moment, a message appeared on my phone screen. It was from my domineering dad. "Step back." Without thinking, I pulled Tyson and stepped back. Just when we were far away from that door but not too far, the door was blown open by a huge external force. In ancient times, Chen Xiang split the mountain to save his mother. Today, a domineering president blows up a secret room to save his daughter. 14. In the end, I was carried home by my domineering dad. Tyson temporarily followed me back to the company. And Landon seemed to have won a great victory in this family battle. Only the ring he put on my hand didn't say how to deal with it. I also checked. The number of zeros behind this ring was a bit countless. After I was carried home by my domineering dad, he looked at the ring on my hand, seeming to want to say something but stopping. He looked at me deeply, sighed, but didn't say anything else. Mercifully didn't blame me for being so reckless and eagerly becoming someone else's fan key, and let me go. And after Tyson also frequently cast his gaze on the pigeon egg-sized ring on my finger, a guilty feeling welled up in my heart. I quickly took it off and put it in my pocket. Once again, I was glad that my dress had a pocket. Woo-whoa. Young President Yi. You're finally back. I was so worried. The naive and sweet assistant Len had no idea what had happened. When he saw me back, he rushed up as if seeing a relative. I quickly pushed Tyson in front of me as a human shield. My innocence was preserved. End of extra chapter. After finding an excuse to send assistant Lin away, I pretended to bluff. I just calculated a fortune-telling. The fortune-telling shows that you bring wealth. I gather wealth. We are a perfect match. To avoid misunderstandings and scare Tyson away, I added another sentence. Of course. I mean in work. Tyson, this fortune-telling is a bit hasty. You should at least take a proper something. Me, those who are not good at it have many stationary masters, don't need fancy operations. Tyson smiled. What else did the fortune-telling say? I still continued to talk nonsense without blushing or having a rapid heartbeat. The fortune-telling also said that tonight's cocktail party needs a person wearing a gray suit, wearing a silver ring, who has raised hamsters and cats to accompany me. This wave is called learning and applying. I didn't give him a chance to react, and extended my hand in the direction where he was standing. Assistant Tang, can I invite you to accompany me to tonight's cocktail party? Because I was slightly lowering my head, I couldn't see Tyson's expression. I only knew that after a long silence, a gentle voice like a warm breeze came from beside my ear. Of course. Yes,